Welcome back to the LEC. We have just seen Misfits take down the Mad Lions, and so we thought we would get Neon out to the bot lane and onto the desk to take a closer look at their win. And we're going to start with the draft. There is a notable inclusion here. I'm sure we're going to talk about him more in a bit. Mr. Twitch, he's been played 100% of games today. But let's start, in fact, with the beginning, because he wasn't your first pick, was he, Neon?
Well, as you can see, it wasn't. We decided to open the draft with the cat because, well, this champion is still very broken. And I mean, the whole draft was already like pre-planned by Mad Lions. Like their whole goal is to ban Sivir, force me to pick Twitch because they take the Zeri away. There's only 3 AD carries that you can really play with Yuumi right now. It's the Sivir is the best, Zeri second best, and then there's Twitch. Twitch being the most volatile one, like the highest reward, but also highest risk. And basically their goal was to pick a comp that focuses on killing me and just like goes in and kills me, you know, because I have to pick Twitch here.
But surely you feel quite comfortable playing the Twitch into Zeri. I've seen this champion be picked into Zeri every time. Is it not quite nice locking that in?
I mean, Twitch is really good into Sivir Zeri, but Twitch is also like a champ that if you don't get rolling, you'll be really useless. And if the enemy team has certain champions and plays, say, well, and you don't play very well with Twitch, you'll be really useless. So it's like high risk pick. But to my luck, I've played this champ many times and I know all the risks that come with it. So I was quite comfortable knowing that it's going to be hard, but it is doable.
You're telling me you're not just a Jinx player? Oh my god, that's crazy, but I've heard that all the time. But I feel like as well, just like when you take a look at the draft, it becomes so easy to play because there's such a solid front line for you guys to just play around as well. There's so many from your teammates just setting you up. And it felt like from the early game, it was falling a little bit apart, but you managed to pick up quite a few kills as you see on the screen.
Well, the early game was always supposed to be hard because they have a lot of threat. Like the early game on me, when they play from mid lane, they have if Rakan, Vi, and Ahri group up together, it's very hard for us to play simply because we have Yuumi as well. Like Yuumi is quite weak in the early game, especially during the Herald timing, so they are supposed to get some kind of an advantage. And luckily I was able to get early kills that kind of made me like be better in the game than I should have been, and I was able to translate that into the later stages.
So what's that point in the game where you just fully, I'm gonna 1v9 this? You had an insane moment with a cleanse flash over the wall after your stopwatch as well. You get so much space as well here. We're just space gliding all over them. Was this the best Rat ERL performance you could have, or were you just better?
Sorry, wait. What did you ask?
Is this just, are you just the best Twitch on the server right here, or what?
I mean, okay, I think I'm really good Twitch because I've played a shit ton of these champions. So I have not picked it on stage yet because it's not always very good. But yeah, I think I'm up there on the top Twitch of the server.
So it sounds like Twitch wasn't your first choice today then. Who would you have rather played?
Well, generally, if you have Yuumi, you kind of prefer to go Sivir because Sivir is more OP than Twitch right now and is also more safe. It's a way better duo with Yuumi, hence why they also banned it and took the Zeri away. So yeah, as I said, this was their decision all along to play this kind of a matchup and to try and shut me down.
And they didn't, and as a result, you are our Kia player of the game.
Yay.
Congratulations, yay.
Thank you.
How many of these have you won?
I don't keep track.
Yeah, so quite a few, quite a few. It was nothing. There was nothing. We should talk a bit about the epic Drake showdown. It came around 24 minutes, the Infernal Drake fight, because that was insane. I don't know if you can remember fully what happened. It ended with the 2v1 shutdown onto poor old Miski, but obviously we're starting with the beginning, aren't we, Guldborg?
Yeah, this felt like a matchup where it's just like they finally got close to try and pick up Neon. Well, obviously trading it quite close for 1-for-1. What's the communication like? Because it feels like this is a fight you'll go back, you'll what video it in your setup, right? And you'll be like, what's the takeaway from this? Because it feels like just hand stiff when you play out the team fight.
Well, this team fight starts off with a numbers disadvantage for us because they used like all their key ultimates to get a pick. So we were quite confident that we were still able to fight despite the members disadvantage because we had our ults right. And it was going to be hard because since we have to come into them at Drake, they're allowed to get a flank, which also happened. I got flanked from like multiple sides and died. And I mean, in the end, my team was able to clutch it out. As you guys can see, it was very close. So I think it was just like a nail-biter of a fight that kind of decided the game.
It's an interesting thing with Misfits because part of your identity, obviously, they're coming back from the deficits, the team fights, but also there's mechanical prowess there as well. And we really saw that in that team fight. What was Mateo saying on the comms as he went for that final kill on Niski?
I mean, okay, you don't really say anything because you're focused on not fucking it up, you know? So,
But he knew. There must have been like a psychic thing between you all, which is like, he's got this.
I mean,
Mercer, come in.
I think,
support him
I
a
think he
bit.
smiled a little bit on the inside when he like finishes Niski off because they're both French, right? So there's like a little bit of a rivalry in between them.
Would you say that you guys are like very calm in like communications? Because when you look at Mad Lion sometimes, or even G2 back in the day, you know, there's a lot of yelling, there's a lot of jokes. What's the atmosphere of Misfits like?
Honestly, I think it's like quite calm. We don't really have yellers. And I mean, it's like, I prefer to not have anyone yell in my ear, to be honest. So I'm quite happy.
Damn it. Okay, right. I'm not taking
We'll never
on
see
that
him with
coaching job then. We should talk about the fact that you are 4-0 now. You've had 2 fantastic weeks in terms of, well, 4-0 in terms of a win streak, I should say. Don't be confused by the fact we got the standings up on screen because obviously you played a lot more than 4 matches. You are currently in 3rd place. Now, obviously, a difficult start to the split, but I feel like you were confident that you were always going to get to this place.
I can't say I was always confident we were going to get here, honestly, because making changes mid-split, it's like you're flipping a coin, you know? And I did not expect us to go 4-0 after we've made the changes. I was like thinking that maybe we need some time to calibrate ourselves to like just get to be better together. But we've had 1 week of practice and it's been going well ever since. So I'm like surprised.
So me and VoD said earlier today, and can you fault us this? We said that we might not have thought Misfits were going to make it to playoffs. So after you saying this now, can you forgive us or?
I mean, come on, guys. You guys are casters, not pro players. So I'll cut you a slack there.
I didn't.
He didn't really expect that himself.
I sided with you guys.
Did you trust in us?
I did, and I still do, because I know best. Thank you so much for joining us, by the way,
You
Neon.
said nothing.
Exactly, I didn't say Misfits. Up next, can SK keep up on this day of upsets and take down Rogue? Let's send it over to Caedrel and Drakos because we're going to go into the draft.
Woo! Woo! Thank you very much. Luckily,
My man.
you have a caster and a pro player here. Hybrid action with me on the desk. So to set some stakes for this game, Rogue obviously near the top of the table. Expected playoffs locker. Have not locked anything yet. SK currently down but not out.
Okay.
In 5.7% of remaining scenarios. So just you assume every game's a 50-50. You like flip a coin. You go through all the possible ones that like 5.7% of all those remaining scenarios, SK can make playoffs. They lock top 6. If they lose, it drops to less than 1%.
Can you give me the exact number?
0.9%, which is probably not the exact number, but is rounded close.
Drakos, you know what I hate about numbers?
What is that?
So, you know, in 2020 summer,
I do know, but tell me anyway.
we had a 96% chance to lock playoffs coming into week 8.
No. You locked playoffs in 96% of scenarios.
Yeah, in scenarios. So when it comes to like SK lock playoffs in 5.7%, if it's greater than 0, it's possible. Because impossible has possible in it. So we'll see if SK can start that journey by getting the win here today.
That is some really terrible like Instagram life advice.
It's not really. You know, if you put like some harmonic sound in the background of me saying it, it probably sounds.
You should say it as we get into game and when the music, sync it up with the music drop.
No, maybe it's like the final call of the win.
Ooh.
Make the impossible possible.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's like one of those videos you
like
search on YouTube. Motivation.
Speech.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Anyway, not really what we're here to talk about. Here more to talk about the game League of Legends. Instantly going to ban away the Gwen, obviously a decent champion for both Gen X and Odoamne, Wukong, Azir, definitely a target at Larssen. And Jezu and Comp, the 2 Kalista players in the league. Sadly, neither of them really going to get the opportunity to play it.
Blue side bans give away first picks, and Poppy is the first one I'm thinking of with Yubi taken away.
Banned.
Trundle's banned.
Those are some good applause right there.
Wukong's banned. It should be, surely, it's a first pick Poppy. Today's been a day of upsets, so we'll see if SK can continue that train. A lot of champions open here. You've got things like the Taliyah, things like the Poppy. Wouldn't surprise me if Rogue pick up anything that's left over from this draft.
Ooh, sad Poppy though with Hex Flash gone.
Sad Poppy with Hexflash gone indeed.
Still important though. Good
that hammer really is spinning. Holy moly.
Yep.
It's like a helicopter. Something we noticed backstage, I think it was Valée who talked to us about it.
Yep.
Or Nicole, our manager, who said that Ornn Silas, Twitch was it? Ornn Silas something has been,
Betty, but
Ornn Silas has been winning every game so far.
Ornn Silas Twitch. That trio was Guldborg who called it out. Betty who repeated, so credit to Guldborg, has been winning every game so far today.
Well, there's Ornn.
Rogue, not interested in copying anyone else's formula for success. They're going to go with Taliyah, which makes a lot of sense because when you go down the tier list, Taliyah is still right there at the top.
Definitely is. I think Rogue need an AD jungler here ASAP on 3 or 4. We'll see what they prioritize. I'm guessing SK will match mid and top here. That would make the most sense. Shyvana top has been played around the world. Extremely tanky, really high base damage. And I think that's going to get locked in because it does make sense. Another mid I'm looking at here for Sertuss is LeBlanc or Akali is something that I would think of into this Taliyah. Makes a lot of sense with the changes, with the buffs to LeBlanc. We saw it first picked in day one of this week. Ahri would also work really well. Anything with some kind of pressure mid where you have kill pressure, because the Poppy doesn't have great setup on itself, but anything with setup in mid lane is perfect. Any control mage here would struggle a bit.
Okay, LeBlanc, nice.
Okay.
Remember, LeBlanc's dash in is a dash for the purposes of Taliyah's E, Unraveled Earth, but the dash back out is a blink, so you will not catch it on the way out if you can't get in fast enough on the way in, like the Nezreal E. Sivir now going to come through as well. And interesting here, SK not prioritizing the strongest AD on the patch, which for most people feels like it is Sivir right now. Instead, making sure that they can get a solid matchup for Sertuss in the mid lane, hiding their AD pick for now, but it does leave them open to some of these more targeted bans, like the Lucian.
Like Lucian, indeed. I think they're going to have to pick support on 5 here. Makes the most sense to 4-pick jungle. They need an AD jungler. It's a bit tricky here. I think Lee Sin would, Vi would work really well into LeBlanc. Not so much into the Poppy, but anything that can lock down LeBlanc. Vi, Lee Sin are the only 2 champions in jungle that can really do that. But we'll see what AD jungler they're opt into here. The awkward thing about picking Jarvan, for example, on 4 is it's really bad into LeBlanc, really bad into Poppy, and you're hoping that they pick an immobile AD carry. But with things like Estriel up, Zeri,
okay,
you
how
can't
many
really afford
times,
that.
Mark Lamont, have you looked at me in the face and said Jarvan is terrible here? And how many times has Malrang said, screw it, I'll pick it anyway?
Plenty.
Yes.
Rakan, LeBlanc, Poppy, he don't care.
He will eventually EQ you.
You can't cancel his EQ if EQ flashes. Aha, knock-up, bro. No damage, but still a knock-up.
And I'm curious to see how Malrang plays, because the last 2 weeks haven't been great for Malrang. Now, yesterday was a bit of redemption, but I'm curious to see if he can keep that momentum going forward.
That's the Ezreal ban, which does signal Jarvan is going to be picked. Unless they opt in for a Zeri lane, they just want to take that away. So I'm guessing Lee Sin here would work best for Rogue. Viego would be very tricky to help lock down the rest of SK. But yeah, to me, Lee Sin just screams the most obvious here in terms of shutting down the LeBlanc, being able to win 2v2s. But it's the LPL Pantheon.
There we go, baby. When it was a bot lane, it was the Avengers.
Woo! We didn't have to tell them, but there it is.
Shout out to Quickshot. Ooh, 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 ooh. Shout out to the G2 fans from Belgium, to the entire audience for that one. Goosebumps.
Oh, indeed. Pantheon locked in. Vayne also matching that with Renata into this Ornn Pantheon. Are we going to get Ashe support as well? Sivir Ashe, incredible push power. We see Kalista Ashe in the LPL picked a bit. Haven't seen a Sivir Ashe just yet, but that sounds like a hell of a lot of poke, a hell of a lot of push, but very risky into LeBlanc. Could get instantly one-shot. Full CDR, full arrows. Is it going to get locked in? It is so.
Let's go!
We got a Pantheon, we got a Shyvana, we got a Sivir Ashe pot, we got a Vayne. And it's Sertuss on the individual prowess with the LeBlanc. So Rogue, incredible engage. You've got the Weaver Starfall with the Pantheon, with the Taliyah. You've got the Ornn ult.
LPL coined it.
LPL coined it. You've got the Ashe ult. You've got the Sivir ult to gap close. So much engage. If they can find a target, they can lock it the hell down. Whereas SK, a lot of damage on the Vayne. A lot of kind of self-plays coming out of Sertuss. He's just going to have to play his own game, really. He's not really playing the 5v5. He's playing the 1v1 on flanks. And Gilius Janax the front line. Treatz, eyes on him for the ult.
And the pieces on the side of SK don't fit as perfectly when it comes to the 5v5, but they certainly have a lot of stronger individual champions. That said, watching this bot lane in the LPL, Halo Blades Ashe in the early game, unplayable for Renata. As we get later, Renata's utility, fantastic. I'm ready to see what Trymbi can do. Some of the last pick support picks for Trymbi haven't worked out great. The Sejuani, a little bit sus. Not my favorite thing to see. Want to see if the Ashe is maybe going to show us a little bit more. And Caedrel, the music's like, we're about to hit that point where the music syncs up real good.
Oh, we get into game!
I meant to say the impossible possible.
Oh! I heard toss in my ears. I was like, what are you on about? Which point?
here we are.
Do not let your dreams be memes. Make the impossible possible.
Oh yeah. And what would be impossible would be surviving all 5 of those champions walking at you, unless of course you pushed a very defensive ward in the brush, which SK did. Credit to SK, so they know this level 1 is coming and they know it is time to evacuate the dance floor. They are not interested.
I would have loved the late invade and then just SK match 5v5 level 1. You talked about Halo Blades, Ashe. Trymbi's actually gone Comet. I haven't really seen that very often, but a lot more poke potential from the W. Things like Scorch and Comet. Try to chunk out this Vayne as much as possible. And with potions being hit, sustain being hit, Ashe does sound like a really tough champ to deal with in lane and bot lane. That's why Jezu has gone for the Doran shield.
Interesting. So opting for Mana Flow Band, obviously helping keep the mana up in lane. Cheap Shot, Ultimate Hunter. So just as much poke as humanly possible on the W in the early lane. Not looking to extend trades with the Halo Blades. Maybe because the Vayne is so lethal in extended trades, I'm not sure. Can always ask him about it later. But overall, gonna have to track this early game. It's gonna be difficult. Comp and Trymbi should have total control of the lane. Yeah, Vayne, level 6 with Cleanse should be able to fight both these champions pretty easily. But early game Valée, I mean, that ability is so nasty. It's so absolutely just miserable to play against. And we'll see what Jezu can do to just stay behind the minions here, avoid the little bit of poke damage coming through. Trymbi holding it for now. Treatz gonna struggle to walk up here.
Is indeed. I think Rogue will just get full bot push here. My eyes are on Malrang because he's just done Raptor's red. Is he gonna run towards Gromp here, get level 3, and then just try to force bot dives? Gilius is gonna do red Raptors, so this is a pathing the Tarzan coined many, many years ago on Griffin, I believe it was, where you just do red Raptors and you go back to your Krugs and you gank that same lane that you're pathing into. It's more efficient than doing, you know, red Krugs Raptors into bot because then you're going towards mid. So Gilius is posturing himself here for a bot play or some kind of bot counter gank because there's no camps on this side, of course, left, and the Ashe E will miss him. So could catch him off guard here. No wards yet for Rogue.
But they see 2 camps pulled out. They're pinging top side. They expect Gilius is there. False information can be really dangerous here. Sertuss trading with confidence. Does not want to overextend there on the trade. Forcing an early flash out from Trymbi. Heal coming in as well. Probably just need to use it for the movement speed. There's a ghost on Comp. Comp gonna walk away, but Trymbi just gonna get cut down here on the bottom side. Oh, he thought he had the info. He thought the hawk shot gave him everything he needed, but all it led him to do was his own death.
No wards placed. And great gank there by Gilius. Very smart pathing. Red Raptors into Krugs. Actually got the bot gank off, but now it's Malrang's turn. Treatz no flash. Malrang will instantly kill him if he can get the flash W range with the auto Q. He's thinking about it. Will Treatz walk up is what's going through his head. But he'll respect it. Treatz is going to back away, drop the recall, and with the wave, what looks like pretty even for now. Maybe pushing out into Rogue. We'll see what happens with it. We also saw a lot of trading in mid. Larssen's already TP'd back. Sertuss hasn't done that just yet. As we take a look at this one again. So let's watch the Ashe E here. I believe we'll see. It's gonna miss the Krugs. It's gonna spot the red and Raptors though. So does it keep on going, I wonder? If it goes towards the blue, then they must know that him not being there, something odd is here. But maybe they thought he was on Wolves because I don't think it spotted it.
Wait a second, yeah. Did they just make the assumption and then step forward, waiting to see where it would land?
I think they realized too late. By the time the E was flying over blue, Trymbi was already starting to run away and Treatz was flashing in.
Wow.
So yeah, game of inches there.
I mean, literally, you're talking about if Hawkshot had, you know, another 1,000 speed on it in terms of travel time, he would have been out of there. He would have known, he would have left. Or an angle slightly to the left, but ultimately it doesn't work.
Great setup there. First blood to the Vayne. Jezu now trying to get that base off. They're going to crash that bot wave, it looks like. Looks quite an awkward bot wave, but lifesteal, anything for sustain would be great. But he's going to go towards the Blade of the Ruined King, I presume.
No. And again, we talked about
Kraken Slayer.
Kraken Slayer also an option.
Yeah.
Talked about how important that is for champions who do like to build it. Vayne, if she wants to spike hard on one item, is one of those champions. Basically, champions with AD steroids really love Blade of the Ruined King usually, and Vayne on the ult he has one. Something to keep track of. As we go later is Odoamne on the top side for now, keeping pressure against Gen X. It's a lot harder at level 6 because Shyvana base damage in Dragon form is nasty.
Yeah, I was watching the Shy play Shyvana, and basically all he does is as soon as Dragon forms up, you just use it, and you use it to either poke them with the E, or you use it to just push in waves. So we'll see what Gen X does with it. It makes sense just kind of use it off cooldown unless you're maybe under threat of a gank, or you want to make a play with your jungler being around. But I think both junglers will be around bot side most of this game, or around mid especially. There's a lot of kill pressure onto Larssen if Sertuss can gap close, get the chain in, and that's why Malrang's just right behind him on this wave, gonna cover him as they move towards bot side together. We saw Matt do this with the Ahri and the Vi. And when Larsen's level 6 and Malrang's level 6, this is gonna get even worse for SK, so they're gonna have to try to find a way to defend their bot lane, because getting the Shyvana ahead won't win you the game, it's getting the Vayne ahead that will.
Definitely. something to track too, because it gets hard, because Jezu has some tools to protect himself, the flash and the cleanse right now. Treatz, though, is also going to be incredibly vulnerable, and snowballing comp is always, always scary. When you take a look at Mad yesterday, their match versus Rogue, it was Comp who came out really dominating, Unforgiven, the one who was shut down by this man here. Now he's got Sivir, one of the strongest, if not the strongest AD on the patch, as we see him trading in mid lane. Sertuss looking scary, and SK fighting back very well against a Rogue who looked fantastic yesterday.
Yeah, and their life's kind of on the line here. SK, we heard it before the game started. If they lose this, they have a 0.9% chance to lock into playoffs. Gilius looking for comp here. Nice E, won't get anything at all. Rogue just going to back away. Malrang is around. They can try to force this 3v3, try to get this wave in, but there's a ward in Tribe which will spot Malrang if he walks there. No flash on Treatz just yet, so it's very hard for him to walk up. We're yet to see the Pantheon flash W. It's kind of like the Elise flash cocoon, you know. It's basically a guaranteed CC, guaranteed kill if you have the right setup. And they've been holding it so far this game. I think Malrang's just going to try to take this bot grab.
Trying to get something back. Obviously, Pantheon generally looked at as an early game impact jungler. Still does a lot of damage mid-game, can be a lot of threat to both the LeBlanc and the Vayne, but if they get far enough ahead, it just becomes less and less of a viable option, especially if there's a Poppy waiting around. We talked about it already, though. Late game, big team fights, front to back.
Uh-oh.
Rogue very strong, but here comes Larssen, spotted out.
Here comes Malrang, here comes Larssen. Gilius is farming his Grump. They can just commit to this dive. No TPs either. It's a 4v2. Sertuss is trying to run down.
Malrang ready to tank this out. Remember, the E doesn't block towers anymore. Knocked back for now, but stopping the play before it even matters. Malrang now going out to safety, walking away. Comp taking the aggro flawlessly. Jezu now leaping forward. Jezu! Absolute mad.
Here comes Sertuss!
Finds a kill. Fantastic punish. Sertuss still sticking around. Ignite. Nope. Chains just ticking.
What the hell happened in that dive for Rogue? They were 4v2. They didn't even get a kill onto Treatz. No Ignite either. The heal's not even there. It's just a cleanse and an Ignite for SK. They almost got a kill in a 2v4. So we'll have to look at the replay there, because it looked like Malrang was going for Treatz. Jezu was just trying to keep himself safe, but now Genax might be in trouble because Trymbi's on the way up, but Gilius has been counter-jungling this whole time. Has the Dragon Form to escape. He should be fine. Gilius wants to get this red. Don't think he has the time to. Doesn't have the information either, and with the Hawkshot flying around, he has to back away. So big win for SK there.
Massive credit to SK, because this could have been a game where, like, Gilius, why are you on Gromp? Why isn't there a cross-map play taking place other than Genax proxying that wave here? But let's look at this. What actually happened
All
here?
they have to do is stun Treatz and then just Taliyah combo. But the combo comes out too late. The W doesn't push him into the E damage. The pushback from Treatz makes it so Malrang sidesteps away, and then he flashes the combo from LeBlanc there, but they managed to trade 1 for 0 in such a disadvantageous position, and that'll help the SK bot lane out so much. They don't lose the wave. They manage to get a little bit of the XP. So he's even with comp right now, and Treatz is even with Trymbi, because experience is so important in this lane. With Jezu having no cleanse, that Ashe will be his death sentence. But now Malrang has the ult, Larssen has the ult. I think they're going to try again soon.
If you force before the Ashe has level 6, this fight is heavily favored for the Vayne. Sivir ult, obviously a lot of utility for the team as a whole, but in 1v1s, Vayne ult is just broken. For now, though, forced away from the wave, and crazy play. I mean, you can see how just a small moment where the team is not perfectly coordinated, where a skill shot maybe isn't at the perfect angle, can make one of those tower dives fall away from you. Part of the reason why we don't see as many tower dives as we used to on previous patches.
And also part of the reason why we don't see too many Ashe support lanes. I mean, this lane wants to, almost like a Karma lane, just wants to push, use her E for vision as much as possible, get as much CDR to spam arrows from base into mid, and then you can either use that push to move towards mid or use that push to dive. So far, the push is just made it so Trymbi's died twice. Once on pushing too far when Gilius caught them off guard, and one trying to dive. So now they will get themselves some plates. They've got almost a 30 CS lead. This is ideally how you want it to look. Their bot lane can't lane. You have double global. No matter how many members come down here for SK, as long as Genax is showing, you know you can match with global. So it's on SK to defend or find some other avenue to stop this pressure. SK, looks like Larssen had to flash there away from Gilius.
Little advantages starting to add up. The gold still dead even overall. Big support advantage right now for the side of Trymbi. He's had more free time to auto-attack that tower, a couple more plates in his pocket, a couple more stacks on the Spectral Sickle. But that's really going to be about it. And of course, while it is a massive CS discrepancy, the kill, the assist for Jezu after the botched dives by the side of Rogue. And this is a dangerous comp to make mistakes against. LeBlanc, Vayne, these are champions you cannot let get fed. Because however strong or however good you feel about your 5v5, you may never see it if both of these champions are fed. They played a side lane and you just get outmaneuvered around the map.
Completely right. And now with Genax getting towards that level 9, has 5 points in the E, can start to push Odoamne in. start to play for plates himself, and I think this matchup will be in isolation for the entirety of the game. And the Herald has already gone over to SK as well, so Rogue's only option is to dive bot or play for Drake, so SK react. They say, you know what, we're not going to dive bot, we're just going to swap. Play for our Herald top, play for gold onto the Vayne, so that means Rogue have to match. So Dragon is kind of off the cards for both teams now as well, as Rogue will now try to shift their pressure top as well and try to make so their globals can impact this top side of the map. Rogue really need to establish push here and get some kind of vision on the top side so they can keep farming these plates.
Really glad that we're not seeing Jezu stick around there. He does have the cleanse up, but Treatz still level 5. It'd be hard to punish. The Ashe arrow is something you have to watch now as Trymbi ticks over to 6.
So now Jezu's going to base again when Comp shows top and run bot. What he's going to do is every single time Comp shows on a wave, he's going to base and go to the opposite side of the map because he knows he cannot survive the pressure of the 2v2 and the global. So every time Comp shows, he's just going to go to the side. GenX is there to match. Comp has to base here and run bot again. And if GenX can stop him and stop their tempo, then this is really SK favorite because now GenX will catch the wave, push out their Herald bot. So now Rogue, with that cancelled base, have to force something here. They have to force GenX back, have to force a tower, or leave Comp in isolation. Trymbi then lanes with Odoamne, but then there goes your pressure lane. So it's a lose-lose scenario right now for Rogue. SK ahead of the curve.
You can see Rogue responding as you predicted they would, now playing to the bottom side, not looking to move top, just allowing that 1v1 to continue as Trymbi moves back down to bot lane. Enchanted Crystal Arrow, where's it going to go? You've got the wall, you've got the Pantheon out, you've got so many semi-global tools, but we just have not really seen them used yet.
And now they can't, right? Imagine they try to make a play 4v4 bot. Well, GenX has TP. It's not really a 4v4. It could be a 5v4 if GenX can get onto that bot tier 1 and try to join the fight. They also have Herald. Comp is not pushing top. You have 3 lanes kind of pushing into you, and GenX can do things like this.
Shyvana base damage, full tank, just casual 300. Now we got the Herald being used on the bot side. Malrang Trymbi ready to respond. Enchanted Crystal Arrow, Jezu.
Oh.
Nice tumble. Here comes the charge. Here comes a bit extra money. They're focused down on Gilius to try to lock him up, but now forced to attack each other for a brief moment on the Berserk. Flash out, bit of poke coming back. In the meantime, pushing it on the top side is GenX. He's forced Comp out of lane.
Look at top. SK are just farming both side lanes here. Rogue so down in tempo the second Comp cancelled his base. If they could have matched bot, they could have stopped this play from happening, but now GenX will get another plate, or Odoamne will have to use TP up here when Unleashed Teleport's coming up in 1 minute and 15 seconds. That's not what you want, and SK are still hitting bot tower, so everything's kind of falling apart in this early game comp for Rogue. They want to use globals for the push, but they can't get the push anywhere.
I've never seen a team with so many semi-globals get pulled around the map like this. This is incredibly well played by the side of SK. And again, it feels like it comes back to that single moment when you botch the dive and suddenly the Ashe isn't this character who's snowballing on your bottom side and forcing picks over and over again with the Pantheon. Malrang not finding any of these flash W angles, these quick stuns that we talked about in Champ Select. And so far, so good for the side of SK. Obviously, they're still in a position where they can't afford to make too many mistakes, have to keep this momentum going, have to keep these trades in their favor, because Rogue are very scary if it comes down to forced 5v5s, but we haven't seen a Drake yet. We haven't seen a single thing that would force us to teamfight yet at this stage of the game.
Much harder to take, you know, it takes a lot of time to do. You lose a lot of time for jungle or for mid pressure. So not something they want to opt into yet. Rogue want to keep the power of the globals, and SK are just trying to weather the storm, and massive props to them. Ever since Jezu and Treatz lost push, they lost 2 or 3 plates, they recognized exactly how to deal with this pushing lane, and Rogue were the ones on the back foot, so we'll see if Rogue can establish that pressure, because now Trymbi has wards, Malrang cleared his top camps, Larssen's out of base, they ideally want to set up back towards the bot side, keep that pressure up again, and we'll see how SK respond. Arrow mid.
Sertuss, ooh, still gets hit here.
Massive.
Clipped, knocked back into the Pantheon, the alley-oop. Sertuss now walking out to safety, trying to make it out to safety.
Fine.
Treatz, that was all of their damage.
Just lived. I was surprised that Larssen didn't pull him towards the Taliyah rather than knock him into the Pantheon. I'm not sure how many stones actually hit him there. I think he still got stunned. But now with the Dragon up, it looks like SK want to start it. Gilius are hovering around. Jezu's pushed out bot. Odoamne is actually moving down. GenX has TP.
Jezu has not based yet and bot. He has a lead, but it just doesn't matter because he hasn't bought anything. LeBlanc is low. This is very high risk, but they're killing it fast enough courtesy of the True Silver to make it out.
Yeah, Rogue really slow to respond again. They have double globals. They could have just pulled the trigger, but with Odoamne not having TP and Comp being under tower, they can't really engage without having that numbers advantage, or at least having an even numbers, because GenX would just TP in the middle of their engage and then everything would be stopped. Yeah, so SK get a Herald, they get a Dragon, they get plates over to their Vayne. Bot tower is lower than on Rogue's side than it is on SK's side, surprisingly, on this bot matchup and with the globals that they had, so Rogue need to find something. There's another arrow. Gonna cancel Sertuss' base.
If he hits this, that's big. That's very big.
Oh, Larssen.
The block with the can going in for the kill. Gilius now going in. He wants to take down Larssen. He's got Red
He's
buff.
dead.
Oh no!
Here comes the Pantheon though.
Can they stop it? They they knock him back? The tower doesn't quite hit him. Larssen ticking. Larssen burning the knockup. Gilius walks away.
Oh my god, Sertuss used the clone to block a little bit of the Taliyah damage, so that kept him alive, I believe. And then Gilius quick to respond. There's the global from Malrang. Really, really good arrow from Trymbi. I think the ward might have caught Sertuss just on the end of it, or the vision of the minion. Arrow comes in, but as it hits, he can control his clone. Nice little visual effects there.
Wait, you can control the clone while your son haven't played LeBlanc in
I believe you
years.
can. You can move it around. Because I think,
Okay.
look at the amount of his sidestepping it does here. So it must be him controlling it. There's the first block on the initial queue. If that one hit, he would have died. Gilius comes in to save the day. Sertuss runs out to avoid the E, and then Malrang ults in, but
Knock back into the tower.
knocks him into the tower. SK have an answer for everything Rogue are throwing at them.
What
And there's another Herald.
are they feeding these EU teams? We have so many upsets today. What is happening? And it's not done yet, certainly. This is a hard composition to play from the side of SK. They need to keep this momentum going, but every play Rogue has tried to make this game has backfired horribly. And credit to SK for playing it so well. It's just,
Another one.
here we go.
Here it comes.
Sertuss. Ooh,
Nope.
that one just doesn't hit.
That one just doesn't hit. It's quite underwhelming, you know, when you follow it throughout the entire map, and then you just...
That's what they do. They bait us. Most of the time, the observers, they're just like, they're laughing back there.
Look at these casters.
What are they getting knifed for?
And they think this is gonna hit.
That sometimes it does.
And then when it does, it's
It's
really
like
high.
those messages in Dark Souls that are like, try jumping, try hitting the
Yeah.
wall. You do it every time.
Yeah, of
You know
course.
it's a bait, but you have to get hyped.
You can't just ignore the message. Hidden wall ahead.
There it is.
You gotta hit it.
These Ashe arrows, are they the real hidden wall? We'll find out. Odoamne, two-man knockup. Herald charging in the meantime. Audience clapping. They're getting hyped. They're getting ready. The Shyvana damage on the ground is massive. Here it comes. Second charge.
Here comes Rogue.
They're not going to mess this one up. I feel it. They're feeling confident. Oh, but right into the ulti.
Oh, he's gonna get out.
Full confidence.
Can Malrang ward and W him? Yes, he is. Oh, so close. So close. I think he was about 0.01 seconds from stunning him there.
Feel Paul in the building with us. So as special. Just making it out in the nick of time.
Yeah, shout out to Sertuss indeed. And now that's 5 members of Rogue committed top. Jenax just had to TP away. Easy does it. Trymbi tried to flash to force the play. Larssen ulted up. Comp ulted up. Everyone was collapsing. Odo tried to engage with ult as well. Nothing. Again, Rogue are getting nothing for these plays, or they're backfiring. Dragon is going to take blue. The Battle of the Titans. Gromp as well. Oh, he fancies it.
This man,
Counter jungling.
min-maxing.
Hell yeah.
He is here to make money.
Farming them gold, 100 gold. Boom. In the bank.
There it is.
Boom. 90 gold. Look at the CS. 200 CS on that Shyvana, 18 minutes.
Oh, Malrang has to be so annoyed right now.
I would be pissed.
I don't even... I mean, there's no unstoppable left because he doesn't have the ult.
Disrespect as well. He's just running past Odoamne. Arrow!
Chain CC. Pantheon coming. Jenax. Was it worth it? Was it worth it, Jenax?
Yes, it was.
Find the kill. The shutdown. That is huge. As the dragon will fall. He got greedy. He got thirsty.
Yeah.
He wanted more money, and I respect it. But when you got a shutdown on your head, you can't be doing it.
It's like when you got the music too loud in your ears and you make a play happen, you just keep going and they eventually int it.
Oh my god. Are we getting that for every Pantheon kill? I mean, chills.
Indeed.
Chills. I love you, audience. You guys are fantastic.
Would have been ideal if the Pantheon got the kill, because that was a shutdown. Would have made it so his mid game's a bit stronger. But
True.
It's going to go over to the Ornn.
True. Yeah, he kind of just showed up there. This is, who are those guys that help, that come down the sheep's path and just kind of run in there?
It's all me.
It's kind of that, sadly, that performance. We'll see if we get the full-on Spartan performance from Malrang.
Spartan. Hot drops in with his ult and cleans house with his PK. We'll see if he can do it here, Malrang. The Dragon's up in 20 seconds. Larssen has the ult as well, but he has Cleanse and TP right now. Doesn't have Flash, which is not ideal against the Flash coming up for Gilius. No real side lane objectives to play here for Rogue, so they're just gonna go head first into this Dragon Pit, it looks like. TP coming in, Larssen swaps out the Cleanse, Flash coming up. No side lane push other than Jenax, who's gonna collapse. And here comes the 5v5.
Yeah. For now, Jezu doing what he can to clear the wave in the mid lane. This is one of Vayne's big historic weaknesses, is her wave clear.
Another one.
Pretty trash. Arrow onto Gilius, the chain CC. But now, the hostile takeover. Gilius still standing for now. He will go down, but can they keep the fight going? Larssen out to the side. Deleted! A dragon out of nowhere. Finding the kill. Jezu now going for more comp. You cannot outrun this Vayne.
Can he get the Q auto?
Yes, he can outrun the Vayne.
It's like an Elden Ring. Dragons just come out of nowhere. Boom.
That's what the Ghost is for. It's genius. Normally you
outrun
can't
him.
outrun him.
Now he can with the ult and the Ghost, but it's a 1-for-1. And SK will get the Dragon. Rogue initial pick looked great, 5v4 kicks off, but I think Jenax just almost solo killed Larssen on the side. We'll have to see it again because it's him who finished him off. And Rogue get nothing. They get a kill, but they don't get a tower, they don't get the Drake. 2 dragons over to SK. They might look for Sertuss here. He has to be careful dashing forwards, has the ult, uses it.
Sertuss, bit of a whiffy there.
I got the flash.
How much is he gonna go? The knockback, sending the clone out, dashing. This guys, what are you doing?
They're gonna chase him down. I think they can get him, but the Hex portal later. It's all falling apart. Everything looks good initially for Rogue, but
yeah, some of these plays SK are outplaying. Some of them Rogue is just unlucky. In this case,
it feels like they're being pranked, really, doesn't it, here, Rogue? Because yeah, the arrow hits. Let's look at this because it's an instant 4v5. They only used an Ornn ult for this, but look at Larssen, massive combo from Sertuss with the damage, and then Jenax comes in, Dragon finishes him off with the E, and then it's a 4v4, and Comp and Trymbi are 2 splits from their front line. Jezu flashes forwards to chase, Rogue have to run, and yeah, 1-for-1.
Sadly, Comp got more autos off onto Larssen than he did on anyone else in that fight. I think he was maybe tied with how many autos he got off onto the Vayne. That's a rough fight.
Sucks.
This sucks. Good news is, thank you, Santander. Odoamne, sitting up there. Down in CS, but he's getting all these kills.
Giga Chad Ornn, most gold in the game.
He's the assassin.
2-0-0.
He's the druid. He's the death knight.
Oh, that's just an arrow to say, you know, screw you, get in my jungle. Trymbi has massive CDR, so that shouldn't be too long till it's back up. There's no real objective here for SK. They're just trying to threaten Baron, and I don't think they can start it without Jenax, but Odo might be caught.
Caught out again, the most fed member of the team, just dashing away here, not looking to get locked down by Malrang.
SK really need to get this mid-tier one. That would be ideal for them, because then they can start pushing Comp back, pushing Rogue back to their tier 2s, and then they can start contesting this topside vision. It's very hard to collapse into their jungle when the tier 1 is up, because the waves don't crash far enough, so Rogue have enough time to react. And of course they have the Ashe Hawk shot to just cheat a little bit of vision if they can't get into the pit.
And we got Demonic Embrace secondary on the Shyvana. We've seen different things. We've seen the full tank option, but I like this. A bit more damage, certainly solid against the Ornn, who is only now building a bit of MR. SK sending more and more members into Rogue's jungle, poking out Malrang.
I think they're going to get this tower on this wave, with Jenax being on the bot side, Odo catching bot wave. Jenax can just walk up here, show himself if he wants to. Otherwise, they just walk up. Easy tower. Now, the game gets a bit easier for SK in terms of contesting vision. You'll see them go a bit more aggressive here.
Malrang. He has to shield. Where's the E?
No, he doesn't want to.
Wow.
He wants to base anyway. Won't waste his time pressing a button because he's going to base and he knows he's not going to die.
God, people who play Spartans are so Giga Chad.
They are so, aren't they?
So unleashed.
You know who else is a Giga Chad? Jezu, who just picked up the Rage Blade.
Yeah, I was going to say, so most AD characters are like 3 items. The second you build Ginsu's, it's 2 items. And no one spikes quite as hard on 2 items as
yeah,
our girl
this is
here,
going to hurt. It's only going to get worse. Wits End Blade, whatever the hell he wants, really. The Runans, the Rage Blade and the Kraken is just going to melt through Odo. So as much as that Ornn is a tanky boy, not in front of Jezu.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. Definitely going to be a difficult one. Certainly the same case for Trymbi or Comp if they get caught out. But we'll see. The later we go, the stronger the Sivir is going to feel in these fights. We've seen it across so many games in this region as well as in the LPL. How impactful that champion can be. But right now, Jenax getting frisky, keeping the fight going. Makes a lot of sense. As long as he keeps autoing, he's going to keep that movement speed
Malrang
going.
can ult in here if he wants. We have only seen 1 ult from Malrang, I think, or 1 in mid as well, but looks like the side pressure. When you're playing Taliyah Pantheon, your whole goal is to just collapse on side lanes.
I gotta say it, Malrang, profession, looking like Baker right now. You know what I'm saying? It's a tough one. You got your Spartan games and you got your Baker games, and right now this is a Baker game.
If only he had the Baker skin.
Game.
But he has the Dragon Slayer skin, and there's a dragon on the enemy team.
And he did technically
so he looks really
assist in 1 kill against a dragon. So the lore is panning out now for us.
It aligns a little bit, doesn't it?
But can we also just... We came into this day expecting a lot of one-sided affairs. Maybe some close games, Fnatic G2, Mad Misfits. This was not supposed to be our close game, Mark. This was supposed to be the one-sided game between 2 very close battles for playoffs. But SK have shattered our expectations here. Rogue, yes, have certainly helped. They've made some mistakes this game, no doubt in my mind. But SK have been playing this fantastically, and I think it's caught me off guard, at least.
Yeah, SK have played really well reactively, and the reason we expected the one-sided affair is because Rogue yesterday looked phenomenal playing through bot, and this time they drafted a comp that plays through bot from mid, right? So we wanted that to happen. It didn't. They botched the initial dive, and then SK just mismatched the whole game until Vayne was at a stable point to contest. And now we're sitting in a game where Rogue have 2 champions that want to global decide, and Ashe are that can global decide or mid. And both sides are being pushed in by SK. This time they're cross-mapping for Drake, so Rogue will get a tower. But the LeBlanc is untouchable with a Pantheon ult. the Shyvana is too damn tanky, and if the Taliyah goes down there with a Pantheon, you lose Baron. So they don't actually have any side lane options. The only option is just to engage mid with a numbers advantage. So we'll see if they do that with the Taliyah Pantheon.
And we're talking about Hextech Soul versus a Vayne who loves that attack speed, who loves that you know, soul effect, and a Shyvana who you just I mean,
More
it feels
base
like,
damage.
It's like a gimmick passive. You feel like this passive is never relevant until your enemy team has 4 tricks and you're something like, this is the most broken thing I've seen in my life.
Yeah, so it's 5 armor and MR base that she gets, and then she gets 5 extra for every dragon right now. So she's sitting at 20 armor and MR bonus, which is great. Let alone the stats that the dragon is giving across the Shyvana, who's now level 16. If she gets a Hextech Soul, she can basically 1v3 the backline of Rogue, I think, with the amount of tankiness she has in the base damage. But yeah, I mean, it's really simple for SK here. It's about not making a mistake. Don't cock it up, just basically keep waves under towers, play for the next dragon. If Rogue engage into you, engage back. Try to protect the Vayne and don't let them make global plays. And that's exactly what they're doing. You'll see the LeBlanc get top push. The Pantheon can't ult there because she's too mobile. Can't ult bot either because SK will start Nash. They don't have many options here, Rogue. They're just waiting for SK to make a mistake.
It's also difficult because, I mean, Renata ultimate is so terrifying for a team who wants to group up, who wants to go forward. Because the stronger comp gets, also the more threatening he becomes if that Berserk does land. And if he's forced to use that spell shield on anything else, it's going to be a tough fight. That said, Trymbi almost level 11. That's when the cooldown gets really low on the ultimate. 16 obviously much lower, but at level 11 you could really just start to throw these arrows out, especially now that you have Imperial Mandate. So maybe more opportunity for Rogue to make plays, but we just have not... You see this comp on paper, and you expect lots of early ganks. Very simple, point-and-click CC, and Rogue just did not pull that off, and as a result, SK are in control.
It ticks a lot of boxes, right? Sivir, good scaling, really good engage. Everything has an engage button. But they can't engage on anyone. The good news for Rogue, though, Rabadon's picked up for Larssen. Infinity Edge soon picked up for Comp with the CS numbers he's dishing out. They can slow it down themselves a bit as well. Get that IE on Comp and then hope that he can try to dish out damage and you can protect him. But the thing is, champions like Pantheon don't scale so well. The Ashe support's just going to get one shot.
I mean, it is now steadily becoming more and more the Comp show. I mean, he's at 300 CS at 27 minutes. They are funneling resources into this Sivir. They know, as well as anyone who's watched the league in the last 5 or 6 years, the 500 CS Sivir wins. You get enough items on this champion, you got people to protect her, and you do. That's what the Pantheon can do mid-late game. You can just defend the Sivir. And if it comes down to that, Rogue can make it happen, but it's definitely not the position they wanted to be in. Eyes on the arrow. Of course. Yeah.
The only play they have...
That was a fake wall. Sure.
The only play they have is have people in this bush, Malrang and Larssen. Arrow hits Treatz, double global, get a pick, play a 5v4 with Odoamne TPing in. That's the idea. Yeah. It missed, though. So there goes the whole plan.
Here comes Gen X.
Gen X is around. They spotted out Trymbi and Malrang. And yeah, SK just want this to happen. They just want it to be stable. Nothing happens. Dragon spawns, get Dragon, win game, profit, playoffs on the horizon. That's the plan from A to B to C to D.
Absolutely. And I think, you look at it, they're still pretty far down in the standings, but I love what they're doing so far in the 1-3-1. Pushing forward, playing for vision, not getting over greedy, not over forcing. That's the biggest thing about 1-3-1, and part of the reason why I think we don't see it as much is that it's just very volatile. It's a very vulnerable strategy, but credit to SK, pulling this off against one of the top teams in the league. From the bottom, it literally inversed score lines. 9-5 and 5-9, and...
Actually, Rogue, didn't they have an undefeated record, and Astralis were unwinning in spring, and then Astralis were the ones who beat Rogue? So, kind of mirrored records are Rogue's kryptonite. There's my take.
Dang. That is some suspicious analysis right there. Comp in trouble, but maybe it's right. Maybe that is their Achilles heel. Who knows?
Maybe it is. We'll see. 2k gold lead for SK. 1 minute 40 seconds on the Dragon. I think for Rogue, it's do or die on the Dragon. That's it. If you give up the soul, it's basically over unless you can weather the storm to an Elder fight. But they're just going to force Nash and try to poke you out of towers.
The thing is, SK's comp is scary with Nash, but not nearly as scary as Rogue's, for example. So maybe they can just handshake on a trade if SK give them that opportunity, but it's never a great deal. 1-3-1 with the Baron obviously feels like where it really starts to break the game open, where the gold lead can really balloon. I don't know, man. This is tough for Rogue. Making trades feels bad, but right now you're just losing slowly across the map as more and more of your jungle camps are getting taken away, more of your waves are getting pushed in, you're passively losing vision just based on the towers that you're losing. This is a very difficult position to play the game from.
It's like the Leona Lewis song, keep bleeding. Keep bleeding resources. Rogue, 50 seconds left on this Dragon spawn. Does Larssen have Void Staff before it? I don't think so. He just base and got the jewel. So now they're going to come out of base. Gen X is going to push in bot, make sure they have 2 lanes to play on before the Dragon spawns. Jezu's going to get red. He has Wit's End. He has Stopwatch. Everyone is as strong as possible. And now the question is, Drakos, do Rogue take that handshake? I think, by the way, they're posturing. It looks like they're going to fight. Malrang has a stopwatch. He's basing. He's probably going to run bot side. And I think it's just throw everything at the wall and see if it sticks for Rogue. Just Pantheon ult in, Taliyah ult in, just send it. And then hope Comp can catch up with his Ghost, because the second you play front to back, I think Jezu is just going to melt Odoamne. They need to make the fight more of a skirmish rather than a 5v5, I think, and then just make sure Comp has space to work with.
Tension. TP being forced. Rogue ready to just fight. See a window of opportunity.
Sees everything they ever wanted.
For right now. Ooh. Will they go for it? Will they let it slip?
Okay,
there it is.
Here they go.
Engaging onto the Poppy.
Oh, Genex!
Onto the backside! That is one very big Dragon Sertuss trying to lead company. He's quite able to do it. He's now lead back. That's the shutdown. Massive. The DOT coming through. Genex just untouchable. This Dragon is huge.
It's so broken.
We talked about it. Look at him just murder the backline. Here comes Jezu. He's not even needed. It's Genex versus the world. They are slaughtering Rogue right before our eyes. One of the top 3 teams in our league laid low by SK, and they're just going to break up the base.
Yeah,
right
they're
here.
going to end, I think, 45 seconds on Odo, 30 seconds on Comp. Trymbi can't wave clear. He'll just instantly die. SK is just going to take the game. The Demonic Embrace finished off Comp, I believe. And the flank from the solo laners was perfect. SK, solid win against Rogue.
Oh, there's nothing they can do. Knocked down. SK finding a massive upset in a day of upsets, holding on to hope in the playoffs as they find victory over Rogue.
Massive performance from SK. Great macro, incredible map movements as well, I have to say, with the lane swaps. And Vedius looked at me backstage and he says, surely Rogue don't lose to SK, right?
Not only did they play the 1-3-1 in mid-game pretty clean, and they had a decent lead to do it, they didn't die to a composition that's like whole point is to just murder people on side lanes. Like, how do you not die in the mid-game against Taliyah Pantheon?
Yeah.
It's incredible. Credit to SK.
LeBlanc, Shyvana, too slippery, too hard to lock down.
Shout out to that person with the Jezu sign. That's faith right there. Credit to you.
And it was one of those games where Rogue had to do something early, yes, but once they got to mid to late game, if they didn't actually get a lead, there's nothing they can do. Like, their draft just doesn't allow them to do anything when you're playing this global side comp and they have pressure on sides. I mean, we said it multiple times, and all SK have to do is just play for Dragons, keep stacking them up, easy win condition, don't make it overcomplicated, don't force a Baron and make it, you know, reinvent the wheel, just stack Drakes and win.
Yeah. So, reminder, coming into this game, it was about 5%, 5.7%. After winning that game, SK's chances now in 10.5% of remaining scenarios. Sorry, not percentage chance. 10.5% of remaining scenarios. SK will make playoffs after that win. Huge shift upwards. You keep winning them. The chances are going to keep getting higher as more and more games are played out. Kia player of the game, at least on Twitter, Genex, Sertuss, Jezu.
The league stays a mess. The teams keep winning that aren't supposed to win. We said in week 3 or 4 it'll shape up by week 7. It's week 7. I've got no clue what's happening. Caedrel, Drakos, who's going to make playoffs, who's going to make Worlds? I don't know.
Tune into Euphoria. We'll find out. We'll talk about it. We don't know, though, is the long and short of the answer. We have no idea. Maybe Gilius and Laure know who's going to make the playoffs. We'll see what they have to say, because we have no idea.
I have no idea either, actually, but that's a question for Gilius later on. Gilius, thank you so much for joining me for this interview. Congrats on taking down Rogue today. Before talking playoffs, I want to talk about the draft, because we saw 2 new picks today. On the Rogue side, Pantheon and Ashe. And I want to draw the attention to the Pantheon and Taliyah mid lane, because to me it looks like a deadly mid-jungle duo, especially in the mid-game, if they can enable it. Can you talk me through what you had to do in the early game to prevent them from being active?
Thank you, Laure. I definitely agree. Like, Taliyah Pantheon is very strong. And when they locked in Ashe, we basically thought to ourselves, we have to make some action happen around bot first. So our bot lane can lane, you know. So I did the early gank on bot, and then I think Sertuss was just really smurfing on Larssen. I think he destroyed him so hard that Larssen had to base level 3 and TP back. So he basically just rescued himself out of the laning phase.
It was super hard indeed for Rogue to come back after that and after this early game. Any quick thoughts on Pantheon? Because it's a pick that we've been seeing across major regions. First time we see it in Europe. Your take on the pick as a whole, and maybe the conditions to make the pick efficient?
I think Pantheon is very strong right now after the Q buff, and I have been playing Pantheon a lot in solo queue as well, and I'm ready to play it in the LEC as well. So I just think it was like Malrang didn't get much done in the early game, and I think it's a snowball champ. So yeah, maybe I can show a better performance on the champ.
Well, I'm just really looking forward to seeing your Pantheon next week, maybe, Gilius. Let's talk about yesterday. Game didn't go so well against Fnatic. What was the talk within the team to come back strong today, especially?
Honestly, that was, I think, the biggest stomp I've ever played in my life. I think it was very demoralizing game, and we had no chance at all. Like I think we got 1 kill in the whole game. After that, we just said to ourselves, now, if we lose 1 more game, we're basically out of playoffs. So let's just start winning every single game from now on. And yeah, that's the plan right now.
Just win games, that's that easy. And I mean, it counts even more, especially when you think about playoffs now. The casters were just saying SK has now 10.5% chances of making it to playoffs. But we don't care about numbers, especially given how crazy the league has been lately. Schedule for next week, Vitality, Excel, G2. Gilius, I know that you can pull off the biggest upsets and get your teams in the best situation when things seem doomed. How do you think about next week?
I believe Excel and G2 will be for sure wins for us. I think we match up really well with them, and we are also 1-0 up right now, head-to-head record versus both. Vitality will be the hardest game, I think. Perks always gives us some trouble, but if we overcome them and 3-0 the Super Week, you know, would be very nice. And yeah, right now we're just trying to enjoy every single game and just do our best.
You got the mindset for it, and looking forward to seeing you in the Super Week next week. Gilius, thank you so much for the interview, and see you next week. And we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back in a couple minutes for the match of the week, G2 versus Fnatic, coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
And some Kit Kat for you, and some Kit Kat for Elder, and some no Kit Kat for Barrett.